Oh, no, 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 no! Fuck! I love not being able to see because the camera sucks! The only way to fucking get the enemies to group is to put your back against the wall! And when you're back against the wall, the camera just doesn't let you see what's happening. I love it! Woo! Who would be my top 3 most fun characters if damage was completely irrelevant? I mean, I've already said that I think the most fun character in the game is Singto, and I stand by that, so number 1 slot would already be taken. But we can think about the other 2. Because here's the thing, right? Singto has everything going for him. He's got a burst with a really short animation, with a lot of stagger, so it always feels nice to use, because you can use it to stagger enemies, and it's basically instant. He's got resistance to interruption, which always makes things feel more fun to play. He generates a lot of particles in one hit and has a nuke, which is nice for the serotonin. It's like, ooh, a lot of particles, ooh, a lot of damage. And his Hydro application is so good that it single-handedly allows for so many fun teams. And he has basically permanent uptime because, in case you guys didn't know, Singto's burst duration gets extended by hit lag. Alright, so if I use my burst and I'm not hitting anything, it's gonna expire before the cooldown is over. But if I'm hitting things, I'll be able to use my burst again. Alright, so if I just use my burst, whatever, very cool. And I'm not actually hitting anything, I'm not getting any hit lag. Oops, I got a little bit of hit lag by accident there, but it's fine. Nothing too... Alright, as you can see, it is going to expire right about now, when there's still cooldown left. If you're just hitting enemies... Oops. I gotta not die, though. Right? It's still active, and it basically it expires right as the cooldown is back. So if you're just hitting enemies, you get full uptime, and you will be hitting enemies because otherwise, like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? So he also has full uptime, like actual full uptime. You never feel like, oh, I fucked up my rotation because my Singto's burst expired too early. It won't. It never expires. Does Raiden have the same thing with her ult? Yes, but you're not relying on Raiden's ult for elemental application for anything. And if you're hitting enemies, then her attacks will be slower than if you're hitting the air. By the exact same amount as the amount of burst duration that you're gaining, right? That's how hit lag extension works. It just makes it so that while hit lag is happening, timers don't tick down. Right? Which means that the amount of time you're losing due to hit lag gets exactly canceled out by the amount of time you're gaining from hit lag extension. And you get the exact same amount. All this is this. Singto's the most fun character in the game. It just... Playing a team with Singto is just always more fun than playing a team without Singto. Other than that, who else is really fun to play? Okay, unironically, Dehya. If her damage wasn't garbage, I'd be playing her fucking everywhere. Like, her design, like, her gameplay design is so fun. Having a pyro carry that works with Mona is just... It's perfect. But she's garbage. So it's not actually fun. But the question was... Damage aside, what are the most fun characters? Hu Tao can work with Mona? Yes, but no. Like, here's the thing, right? If you play Hu Tao with Mona, will it be better than Dehya with Mona? Yes. Is it because Hu Tao's kit is designed to work well with Mona? No, it's just because Dehya's damage is so fucking dog shit that you can get a decent outcome using Hu Tao instead. That would arguably be better. Right? But it doesn't feel like, oh my god, everything is lining up perfectly, this is so fun. It just feels like, oh my god, it's better than Dehya because this character isn't dog shit. It's not as fun, right? It's just really fun to have things work out in a way where if your timing is off by half a second, you won't vape your last hit. But if your timing is right, you will vape your last hit, and it's gonna be like pew 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 pew. You know, it's just so cool. Like thematically, it's so fun. I love it. Right, like I've played a lot of Carrie Dea when she came out. I wouldn't have stopped if the damage was decent. Right, the only reason I don't really play it anymore is because, well, they decided to make a lot more cringe, and I honestly, like, I can't really 36 star with this anymore. Like, I can if I put it on the right side, but it's so unfun that I just don't want to. Depending on how cringe the next Abyss is, I might bring it back. Who knows? But yeah, so Dea would probably be my number 2 most fun character, damage aside. Virgin Dea doesn't work. The thing about Virgin Dea is she has 2 big problems, right? Problem number 1, well, 3 big problems. Problem number 1, 2 big problems and 1 not that big but even more annoying problem. Anyways, problem number 1, her E hits really slow, which means that she doesn't really have enough application to be a Virgin carry from off field, but her burst doesn't proc Xingqiu, so you don't want to use it. Problem number 2, her E uptime is bad. Like, it's not even good uptime. Sac Dea, the thing about Sac is, Sac has a cooldown. Sac isn't just a magic thing that makes your thing have 100% uptime. But even then, right? You're running Sac? Okay, well, that means you're running a weapon that has a completely useless substat because her burst is bad. Which means you're losing out on like 200 EM. Which is going to make your Virgins do a lot less damage. Yeah, and then the third problem, which is the lesser of the 3 problems, but by far the most annoying, her burst hitbox doesn't really have vertical reach. Which means if you're attacking tall enemies, the explosion, not the burst, her skill hitbox, whatever. The explosion from the skill won't reach the ground and won't burgeon the seeds. Because the explosion happens in the middle of the enemy's hitbox, but the size of it is too small. So if the enemy's tall enough, it's not gonna burgeon at all. And so, all of these things together make her just a really bad option for Burgeon. Can Raiden miss Hyperlooms against flying enemies like Wolflord? Yes, but Raiden actually has a pretty big vertical hitbox on her skill. I think her skill is a circular hitbox, which means, I'm fairly sure. Which means that if the enemy's tall, it's not going to be a problem. It's just if they're flying pretty high up. Like, even against the Wolf Lord, there are some attacks where it is flying, but it's not flying too high up, so you'll still hit the seed. Yeah, Sphere. No, you know what I mean. Okay, third most fun character, numbers aside. It's probably Tortilla, yeah. I don't really play him too much these days, because Xingqiu. But but let me remind you of what makes Child such a fun unit. Oh! Sorry. Let's remove some damage so we can see it for longer. dude, it's so fun. It's so fun, man. It's so fun. Oh yeah, you guys want to know something cool? Do you know how when you're like in this domain, obviously you wouldn't bring child to this domain, but like if this thing was an abyss, right? Which sometimes it's been a few times. You know how it extends your cooldown by quite a lot, right? So if I just do this and then this, it's a 19-second cooldown, and that's unfortunate, you know? And if you wait for a really long time in his E, then it's going to be a lot bigger than that, right? Well, the cooldown only starts when you deactivate your E. And if you just don't deactivate your E, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna kill them, but whatever, right? And you leave, either by exiting here, or by clearing the floor in Abyss, or by resetting in Abyss without reactivating your E. E doesn't go on cooldown. Because the cooldown only starts when you exit, like the stance, and if you leave the state that you're in, it's gonna force exit it in a way that won't actually activate the cooldown. Which means if we get that fucking annoying thing back in Abyss and you're using Child and you fuck something up, don't swap out of him before you retry. Stay on him, don't reactivate his E to like leave the stance, and just press the retry button. That way it doesn't go on cooldown.